Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda. I am your host, Fuad Muhammad. Well, also we have the pleasure today to welcome on the show our dear and respected scholar, Dr. Mohamed Salah. Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah bless you, Fuad.
Ameen. Ameen. Just before we take our first question, we'd just like to remind you of our telephone numbers 00202 38555 248 or 249, and also our email that's ask@huda.tv. Doctor, our first question today is from Sister Asiya from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. She says, when singer uses their voice to resemble that of musical instrument, is this permissible?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ثم أما بعد. Praise be to Allah alone. We praise Him and we seek His help. Whomsoever Allah guides is the truly guided one, and whomsoever Allah leaves astray, no one can show him guidance. May the best peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. When we agreed that it is not permissible for Muslims to listen to music, then some people tend to cut corners and start producing other sounds, whether percussion or whatever, in order to produce the like of the music sound that is the same, according to the more respected opinion. If the background in a nasheed was a natural sound, such as a waterfall, a rainfall, or the whistle of the birds, or a humming of one person, that is permissible. When I have a choral to produce the like of the sound of musical instruments, then I believe that is the same, and that should be avoided. In many cases, some channels, they say that what we hear is definitely music and musical instruments. They say, no, this is some games that we play with the computer in order to convert the sound into the sound of musical instruments. So basically, if it leads the same, then it is the same. Wallahu a'lam.
Okay, and her second question is that the wear of Indo-Pak woman is called the shalwar, which consists of a long top up to the knees.
Shirwa qamis.
Yes, and then the pants. She wants to know, she said also the feet is covered for the woman. She wants to know if it meets the Islamic requirement of dress.
Okay, first of all, with regards to the prayer, because I believe the sister was asking pertaining the prayer, whether she will be able to pray with the long shirwal that's covering the feet. According to the Jumhur, the vast majority of the scholars, that a woman should cover her feet as well in the prayer. A woman should be covered from head to toe with the exception of the face and the hands. There are some scholars who said the sole of the feet, some said the top, like Imam Abu Hanifa, for instance, said that a woman should cover the sole. And I cannot imagine how would a woman cover the sole without covering the top. So that means that she must wear socks. The vast majority of the scholars, based on the hadith of Salama, may Allah be pleased with her, when she inquired from the Prophet ﷺ whether if it is okay for a woman to just wear a khimar and a dira, a long garment, the Prophet ﷺ said if it was long enough, sabigh, to cover the feet. So what's recommended, that a woman in the prayer should make sure that her feet are covered as well. So if she's wearing a long garment, a dress or thawb or whatever that's covering her feet, then there is no need to wear socks if she doesn't want to. With regards to the dress code, there is no specific dress code that is the Sharia or our Islamic constitution said that you gotta wear this color or wear this kind of dress. Rather, there are some guidelines, which is the word hijab means to cover, to conceal, to put a barrier. So anything that would cover the awra of a woman properly, and the word properly covers also, it may be that a woman who's wearing from head to toe, but she's not wearing hijab. If the clothes are either tight, revealing the details of the body, or see-through, So what we see sometimes with some cultural dress, that it may be long enough to cover the entire body, except for the hands and the face, but it is showing the underclothes. Then this is not hijab. Let it be a aba'a, let it be a sharwal qamis, it doesn't matter. What a woman have to keep in mind that she should be in a state of there is no temptation whatsoever, that she would not be desired in this kind of dress. So if it is aba'a, that's perfectly fine. If it is a dress which is long enough to cover the entire body, that is perfectly fine as well. Make sure it is loose, it is not tied, and it is not see-through. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We have Sister Abdullah from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live and ask her there.
My question is regarding, I have an Hindu friend. So she had made a nazar that if her stomach pain gets, if she gets cured with the stomach pain, she'll send 100 riyals to Makkah for the poor people. And as we are going tomorrow for Umrah, so they have given us the money and asked us to give over there to the poor people. Are we allowed to give it to the poor people? And if not, what are we supposed to do? Second question is regarding the baby clothes. Are we supposed, is it okay that the clothes come with an animal faces and all? Is it okay that we make our children wear that?
Okay.
These two are my questions.
Okay. We also have Brother Ayman from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Good evening. Hello, good evening.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes, please, I have two questions. I want to know what's the meaning of these two verses of ayah. In Surah Al-Ma'idah, it's saying يا أيها الذين آمنوا أوفوا بالعقود أحلت لكم بهيمة الأنعام until لأن الله شديد العقاب, from the second verse of the ayah. And I want to know why patience in Islam is important. That's all. Thank you very much.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. That's Brother Ayman there from Egypt. You answered Abdullah's question.
Abdullah, if somebody made a vow or a nazar, if something happened, that they should give this or fast or offer any kind of act of worship or give any charity, then they must fulfill their nuzur. And as a matter of fact, the brother who just quoted the verse from the beginning of Surah Al-Ma'idah, which stated the same. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَوْفُوا بِالْعُقُودِ. So al-uqud, the contracts, whether business contracts, whether vows, whether verbal commitment or promises, that all must be fulfilled. And the most worthy contract to be fulfilled, a contract or a vow that a person commits to do before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, between himself and his creator. So if the sister said that I want you to give that much money in Mecca, which is the most sacred place on earth, then except of course for the very spot where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is buried, then it is permissible and that should be fulfilled, inshaAllah azza wa.
Okay, Brother Asif from the UAE, he said if someone takes part in bid'ah practices, does all his good actions before repentance are rejected?
Okay, when somebody commits a sin, then he repents. I do not see how does he expect to be rewarded from the sin, except if his repentance was so sincere in such way that he would be eligible for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said by the end of Surah Al-Furqan, يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنَاتٍ, that Allah will convert, will change the number of their bad deeds into good deeds. But if somebody says, because this is not an easy question though, when somebody says, I was doing those kind of bid'ah with good intention. No, you do not say I was committing shirk with a good intention. Because for any deed, brothers and sisters, any act, any deed, in order to be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and hopefully rewarded for, it must fulfill two conditions. The first one is sincerity. Sincerity is the core of the acceptance or the validity of any act, whether worldly or religious. The second condition, which is not any lesser in the importance than the first one, is compliance. Compliance with what? If it is an act of worship, compliance with the Sharia, either stated in the Quran or in the Sunnah or the agreement of the companions. But when somebody says, I am very, very sincere in praying Maghrib 4 rak'ahs, because I want Allah to love me more than others, so I'm going to pray Maghrib from now on 4 rakahs instead of 3. No one can doubt his intention is sincere because he's claiming so. I'm not going to search in your heart. I'm not going to cut open your chest to say whether you're true in your intention or not. But I can tell you for sure, that deed will not be accepted. Whether you pray it 4, 5, 6 or 60, because it is not in order with the Sharia.
SubhanAllah.
And that's why there is a hadith that sorted this out completely, in which the Prophet ﷺ said, من أحدث في أمرنا هذا شيئا ليس منه فهو رد. This is a sound hadith which is narrated by Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. Whosoever innovates or introduces to our religion anything that does not belong to it, it is not a part of it, then it will be rejected. In addition to the sin that the person would bear due to inventing in the deen of Allah. So when you repent and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness, what you need to worry about is hopefully Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will pardon you, and alhamdulillah that you got to learn that before it is too late. So this is very, very important to keep in mind. I just want to remind you with a statement that I have oftenly mentioned. Ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, used to say that لَيْسَ لِصَاحِبِ الْبِدْعَةِ توبة. ليس لصاحب البدعة توبة. And I hope this phrase will help you to contemplate the meaning which I just mentioned earlier. An innovator or a person who practices innovation, his tawbah will not be accepted. Why? While Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts the tawbah even from a person who committed shirk.
Yes.
But if they repented, so only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive the sins for the person who asks him for forgiveness. So why not the mubtada'? Because he does not think he's doing anything bad. Even his intention might be sincere, but he is not in line with the Sharia. So that's why as long as he is insisting on practicing those acts of innovations, he doesn't think that he's doing anything bad, his act will be rejected and there is no such repentance nor tawbah for him. There is plenty of talk with regards to innovations and whether the person who is sincere in his intention, there's enough for his deeds to be accepted by Allah even if they're not in order with the Sharia. We have so many references where the Prophet ﷺ objected to some of the practices of the companions who intended well and they wanted to compete with the Prophet ﷺ, but he gathered them and he remarked saying, فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. So whoever turns away from my tradition, he doesn't belong to me. May Allah protect us.
His second question, he said, I brought a friend from my home country. He's from the Qadiani sect, and I treat him and pay him very well in my company. I want to know if I'm considered to be a sinner.
May Allah bless you and reward you best for your good intention. You're not committing a sin for giving a job to Muslims or non-Muslims or sinners. Hopefully this is a good mean of giving them da'wah and showing them the goodwill. But whenever I have the choice, here is a very important point. We do not deal with people according to their faith, meaning if we control the treasures of the earth, the provisions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah does not ask us to restrain them or not to provide the disbelievers. No. Because if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will, He would have deprived them from even the oxygen. He would have killed them. But He gave them until there is a respite. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ بِهِ عَلِيمٌ. Whatever you give in charity for the sake of Allah, for goodness, then Allah is fully aware of it. Whether you assisted with it a sinner or a believer, a righteous or a non-believer. But this is with regards to the voluntary charity and giving help and assistance to mankind in general. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent as mercy for mankind. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, for everything that exists. So now if your intention was good, there is no blame on you. But the point is, if I have an opening, if I am in a charge and I have many nominees and I have Muslims and I have righteous Muslims and I have sinners, then the priority is for those who are obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
We have Sister Uthman from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. You're live on Ask Huda. Questions, please. Go ahead, sister.
Okay, I just have two simple questions, two small questions rather. The first one is, can a step father-in-law be a mahram? Is he a mahram if he's a step-father-in-law?
Okay.
And the second question is, does the changing of a name of a child change anything in him? Is it okay if the name, the previous name is also good, very very good name, but just because the behavior of the child is a little wild or something like that, would the changing of a name change anything in him?
Okay. Jazakallah khair, Sister
And I just wanted to request the Sheikh if you could give the answer in this episode, because there are people who are waiting for the answer since last 2 days.
Definitely, every question people are waiting for its answer. We try to do our best as much as we can. I just like to object to a little expression when I say that the child is wild. I don't think that there is a child who is wild, but it may be naughty, maybe hyperactive, and this is very normal, especially if they are very young. So we have to endure patiently raising our children, and if they have good names, then keep the good names, whether you change it or not. It is in the behavior and the manner. And by the way, you also need to consult doctors with regards to their nutrition, because there are a lot of diets expedite and enhance their hyperactivity, such as eating meat, especially red meat. So I have attended a study before where they have fed those the kids who are with hyper nature, simply vegetables and fruits and potatoes, not fried potatoes, let's say mashed potatoes, etc. And it has improved, the diet has improved their behavior tremendously. So we also, as Islam teaches us, we have to consider the scientific factors. So check with a doctor, in addition to making lots of dua for the child. A dua definitely helps. But also examine other possibilities. As I said, check with a doctor, and you need to review their diets.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. We have Sister Sabah from the UAE. Assalamu alaikum, Sister. You're live on Ask Huda.
Alaikum assalam, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair for all your effort. I have few questions to ask. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
What is difference between waswasa of shaitan and the evil arising from ourselves?
An excellent question, Sister Sabah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the second one, please also tell me that how to protect from the last one, the second one, evil arising from ourselves.
No.
And the second is the intensity of the manzil and the gunjul arsh.
I didn't get this one.
It is manzil and gunjul arsh.
Manzil?
Manzil and gunjul arsh. It is from Sunnah. Because in my Pansura it is there. So I want to ask...
I'm not aware of the second. I mean, I didn't get the second part of the question. I got manzil. What is the next one? I don't think Fuad got it.
It is Gunjul. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing correctly or not. Gunjul Arsh. Gunjularsh.
Jundul Arsh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to ask
I really miss Jamil a lot. He used to help us a lot.
It is so true, mashallah.
How can one know one's own intention if it is thoroughly for Allah's sake, and if it is ostentation? Because I am really sometimes confused if I talk about anyone about anything, if I correct anybody. So I feel like if it is showing off or it is okay. So I'm really confused. Please tell me.
Okay.
And if I read 4 Sunnah before Asr and the Nafil after every, like if after Dhuhr, Maghrib and Isha, it is okay? Or it is like innovation? As much, besides Sunnah Muakkada 12 Rakah, I used to read Nafil after every, after the Dhuhr and Maghrib and Isha, it is okay?
How could a person who is practicing Sunnah could be doing an innovation? If it is an emphatic Sunnah or a non-emphatic Sunnah, if you observe them regularly, this is a great act. So of course, obviously, there is no innovation in such practice.
Okay.
Nafil, I can pray as much as I can, right?
Yes, no problem.
Okay.
Whether emphatic, muakkada, or ghayru muakkada, non-emphatic. Do you have any phone calls?
Yes, we have Sister Yusuf from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum, sister.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Go ahead with your question.
Brother, I have only 2 questions. I immigrated 1990 in North America. And we just come back to the Egypt 2001. and we live here last 10 years.
Okay.
Okay.
And our husbands, we are 2 women. Our husbands, they live over there, and we live here.
Okay.
And we just worry about how we can go together, family together again.
Okay. So, you want an advice of how to get back together again? That's it?
Yes, because our children, they grow up,
Mm-hmm.
and we are separated last 2001 up to now to our husbands.
What do you mean separated?
They
Divorced?
just come for the holidays, but we raise our kids here. We teach them Quran and the school dunya wa akhirah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we just worry about how we can go back to North America and to live their life.
Okay. The question, sister, is you and your kids, similarly, your friend or sister and her kids are living currently in Egypt, right?
Yeah, we live together, yeah.
And your husbands are working in the States, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what you're trying to do is an advice how to recruit your husbands here, or how you want to go back? What do you want to do?
Yeah, that's what I just, we worry about how we can go back to North America.
Okay. You want to go back, or you don't want to go back?
When they say to us, just if you want to come back.
Okay. How old are your children now?
My daughter, she's 22. My son is 20.
Okay.
My sister's her daughters is 20 and 19.
طيب.
We
Okay.
have small kids too.
Okay.
Okay.
They go here to school and they have Quran, but we just struggle
Okay.
with life.
Okay.
طيب جيد.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Yusuf there from Egypt. We also have Sister Rehana from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum, sister. Your life and ask Huda.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I have a couple of questions, brother. I want Sheikh Salah to shed some light on the verse 34 of Surah As-Sad. وَلَقَدْ فَتَّحْنَا سُلَيْمَانَ وَأَلْقَيْنَا عَلَى كُرْسِيهِ جَسَدًا ثُمَّ أَنَابَ. And my second question is, if my relative, his name is Abdul Sattar, so Sattar is not the name of Allah. So is it okay to keep this name, Abdul Sattar? And my
Abdul
third
Fattah?
question is Abdul Sattar.
Okay.
And my third question is, can you give me some websites of some Islamic universities in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia? And my other question is, if my father had married a lady before my mother and she had a son, so I hope it is a step, but Allati or Asyafi, I don't know the correct, but is he my mahram, or I should do hijab in front of him?
Okay.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, shukran. Assalamu alaikum.
We also have Mohammed from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Assalamu alaikum. Sister, your life and ask Huda. Your questions, please. Mohammed, are you with us?
Alaikum Shaykh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
عليكم السلام.
Actually, Sheikh, this question is from my son.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
This is the third time he's asking me. He's 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he's asking me now that to ask you about this question. Is that Allah guide whom He wills in the Quran, and He says that He will punish those whom He did not guide or who doesn't obey Him.
Okay.
طيب جيد.
Okay.
So he is puzzled why Allah said that, why He will punish them.
Okay.
Well, sister, he asked you this question several times, and this is the first time that you're asking us this question, right?
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, Sheikh.
Okay.
And he is now listening to you right now.
Let me begin by answering him immediately.
Okay. Okay.
The Quran presents to us two different types of guidance or hidayah. The first is hidayatul irshad. Hidayatul irshad, or the guidance of showing people the two paths, the good and the bad. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ. We have shown him the good and the evil. And due to this kind of hidayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the prophets to mankind. And He sent down and He descended His books and revelations to them in order to transmit them to human beings, to mankind. So everybody is fully aware after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entrusted mankind with the amana, the responsibility of the free will. إِنَّا عَرَضْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. So no other living creatures other than humans and jinn are entrusted with this free will. We have the choice to pray or not to pray, to believe in one God, or even some people do not believe in God to begin with. Yet Allah still provides for everybody. Didn't those people know about Allah? Nowadays everybody knows about Allah. Everybody knows about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everybody hears of Islam. And everybody has an access at a fingertip to read books and a whole library about Islam and what kind of religion is it and the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah have made this kind of hidayah accessible for every living creature. Hidayatul Irshad. Then for those who would show some compliance and their hearts will be softened, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant them success and tawfiq, which is called Hidayatul Tawfiq, in order to guide them unto Him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after He informed him that He is a guide to mankind, Hidayatul Irshad, He said, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. Then in this verse we're talking about what kind of hidayah? Hidayah, the guidance of success, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala casts in the hearts of whomever He chooses. Based on what? The question which your son have asked was actually presented by many people before, including the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said في سورة الليل فأما من أعطى واتقى وصدق بالحسنى فسنيسره لليسرى وأما من بخل واستغنى وكذب بالحسنى فسنيسره للعسرى. Let me ask you, and I hope your son is listening, let me ask your son, Pharaoh, the Pharaoh, one who claimed that he is the highest Lord, the Lord of mankind, wasn't he informed about Allah the Almighty? Yes, of course he was informed. 2 prophets have been dedicated and sent exclusively to the Pharaoh in order to وَأَهْدِيَكَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَتَخْشَى فَأَرَاهُ الْآيَةَ الْكُبْرى, etc. This is the first hidayah which everyone receives an equal share of being informed. Then, when they show interest, when they comply, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for them and He grants them tawfiq and success. So whosoever He chooses to be rightly guided, that too is by the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does Allah want on His servants to be devoutly worshipping Him and rightly guided? Definitely. But He gave us this free will. So that's why some people, even though after being shown the guidance, Hidayatul Irshad, and being presented before them the proofs that Allah is one and these are His messengers and this is His book, etc., they chose on their own to turn their back to the guidance because they were not granted the tawfiq or the success of Allah. Listen to Prophet Shu'aib says في سورة هود وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ تَوَكَّلْتُ وَإِلَيْهِ أُنِيبُ. And he's a prophet, but he says my success is only with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if one can grasp the meaning of these 2 different types of guidance, then you understand that all Christians, all Jews, all atheists, all Buddhists and Hindus, everybody who is worshipping anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is been given the same kind of hidayah, which is hidayatul irshad, showing the proofs, the evidence. And that's why we preach, that's why we deliver the message, that's why we distribute Quran in its meaning translated to different languages, hold lectures and seminars in order to deliver hidayatul irshad. Then it is totally up to them, and that by the leave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be rightly guided or to choose not to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and go astray. Wallahu a'lam.
Jazakallah khair, Doctor. We have Brother Mahmoud from the United Kingdom. Assalamu alaikum, brother. You're live on Ask Huda. Your questions, please.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I just want to thank the Sheikh for his effort, and you too.
Jazakallah khair.
And also, secondly, I have a suggestion. Most of the questions we ask, we don't get answers for them immediately on on the show. I'm just suggesting if it is possible for you to create an avenue maybe on your website where past episodes of Askuda can be uploaded, so that anybody, maybe like the past 3 episodes or 4 or 5 episodes,
Yes.
so that we can have, so that if you miss an episode where your question is answered, you can view it later on the website to get the details of the answer to your question.
Brother Mahmoud,
Thank you.
Brother Mahmoud, thank you for your suggestion. That was started already a couple of days ago, and it is by the leave of Allah the effort of a group of sisters who volunteered to scribe all the questions of Ask Huda. The previous episodes we're talking about perhaps 700-800 episodes. MashaAllah, they're working hard to type them and post them on the website. They've already started, and they have emailed me some of those questions. It's a lot of work. It will be similar to moving a mountain from a place to another, but it is easy for whomever Allah makes it easy for. Thank you for your suggestion. And also with regards to the previous episodes, many brothers volunteer to upload them on different websites. If you can just type Ask Huda, you'll find on some websites all the previous episodes. Jazakumullahu khairan. As far as the time concerns, Allah knows that we're trying our best, but we have limited resources with regards to finance, with regards to time, so we do our best in order to entertain as much questions as we can of viewers. And when I request the viewers to hold their questions, many of them get very offended and say, my question is very important. I understand that everybody's question is very important for them and for me as well. So just ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy for us to keep the wheel rolling. And one day, inshallah, when we're financially capable, perhaps we can increase the time span of the episode, or at least the number of the episodes. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakallah khair for clarifying that as well, Doctor. We have Sister Subia from the United Arab Emirates. Assalamu alaikum, Sister.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Wa alaikum salam. Sorry for keeping you on hold for so long.
It's okay, no problem. Sheikh, I have like 3 questions. First one's regarding euthanasia. Is it allowed Islamically? Like, if there is no cure, what's the point of, making someone live for such a long time? I mean, is it allowed Islamically?
Okay.
Okay. My second question is about, in every human being, innerly they know that there is no God but Allah. But what's the time, is there any age at which they really realize the truth? I mean, I had a friend who died, recently, who was 16, last year. And she was brought up in a Christian family, and I don't think, she believed whatever she was taught. So what about her? I don't think she really got a chance to, discover what she thinks if God's one or anything like that. And lastly, I want to ask, I've heard that anger burns away good deeds. So is it just the feeling of feeling angry or expressing it? I mean, you cannot really help feeling angry.
Okay.
Right? So...
What was the third question again?
Being angry, feeling or expressing it.
Okay.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Subia there from the United Arab Emirates. We'll take a short break here on Ask Huda, and we'll be back right after this, inshaAllah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.